What is good, guys, man? Thank you for tuning back into the channel, man. If you're new, make sure you hit that sub button down below to be notified for every single video that I drop, man. You don't want to miss out on it, man. Listen, man. Y'all see what that title is. Y'all see what that thumbnail is, man. Man. Man cuts his throat and goes to hell, man. Without further ado, we ain't gonna do no talking, man. We're gonna get straight into it, man. If y'all got any video requests that y'all would want to send me, go ahead and follow the Instagram. The link is down, at the top of the description. You can type it in, and the link is down below in the description too. But without further ado, let's get into this guy's testimony, see what happened after he slit his throat or whatever the case may be. Let's get it. And as soon as we I forgot the play button, y'all. Let's get into it.
It was a dealer home, so we're having like huge JanSport bags of drugs going in and out. We're transporting it, we're carrying it, we're selling it, we're smoking it 3 times a day. Now school reopens in the fall, and I'm trying to readjust to life, but I can't because I'm so drugged out. So another guy came and we smoked out again, but this is where it gets kind of crazy. But I smoked what's called a death bowl. A death bowl is the street name for heroin, cocaine.
Now, you heard what he just said. He said he smoked what's called a death bowl. Now, why would anybody in God's good earth smoke something called a death bowl? It's the name that it gives. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all comment down below if y'all heard something called, if y'all was eating some type of dinner or some type of food called the death bowl, would y'all eat it? And everybody was saying that it's so good, I wouldn't dare even try it. Come on, man.
PCP, it looks like marijuana, but it's laced. So when I smoked this drug, I stayed up for 10 straight days. After the 3rd day of staying up, you lose sight of date, time, who you are, why you're alive. On the last day, I actually had an encounter with, I believe it's Satan now, but he came to me in an open eye vision. He just looked like an Asian grandpa and said, "I know you're having a hard time." And I said, "Yeah, I thought it was my Buddhist God." So when he came to me, he said, "It's time for you to take your own life, cut your neck, cut your stomach, and I'll spare you from hell." And I didn't know Jesus back then, so that's exactly what I did. I went to the kitchen with my mom in the house, and I grabbed the biggest knife I could find, and I cut my neck open and also my stomach open, and I lost 90% of my blood. My mom walks into the living room and she sees her son almost dying. She calls 911, and the cops come over to try to get the knife away from me, and they came in within like 1 minute, right? I was wrestling with them, they took the knife away, they maced me, whacked me with the bat, and we're struggling, and that's when I fainted after being whacked by the bat. And pretty soon I'm going in and out, and I'm in the hospital. And at the hospital, that's when I had the OBE. I literally, lost consciousness before the surgery. And I see myself, but I'm not going to heaven like the false god Satan coming as an old grandpa said. I'm sinking, and it feels like an elevator just falling down. And after 5 minutes of just this horrific feeling of being abandoned and fear multiplied by 100 by anything you can feel on earth, I land and I look around, and it's hell. How do I know it's hell? Because first of all, I never had this thought before, but when I got there during this out-of-body experience, I look around and there was just so many countless people. I wasn't the only one there. Demons are ceiling high, they're everywhere. I feel pain, and I knew I was a sinner and I will never leave this place. I don't know where the idea came from. I just supernaturally knew, instinctively knew. And that's when I realized I made a big mistake. I woke up the next day and they told me I was out for 12 hours, but it was a 5-minute visit to hell. And I knew I didn't want to be there because it's like hopelessness, despair, loneliness, pain. When I came out,
watch what magnesium does to your bowels.
Why does grandma's tummy look pregnant? This blocks your bowels.
of it, I was like, just very traumatized for the next 3 months. That's how painful it was. Jesus talks about a place of torment where there is no quenching of fire and there's no stopping of the gnashing of teeth. And I did feel heat, I did feel darkness, I felt hopelessness. That's how I knew it was biblically valid. It was exactly what he said. When I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by pastors like, "You want to say the sinner's prayer?" I was like, "Yes, I do." I was so relieved and scared of hell and relieved of being alive at the same time that I think I said the sinner's prayer about 10 times. Yeah, so the Lord allowed me in His grace and love and mercy to see hell, just like it is in the Bible. And then 6 months later, or rather more like 7 months later, in the summer of 1999, I was in Korea now. Now for 6 months, I was just resting at the prayer mountain. I tried to go back to school, but I couldn't really be physically all there. So I ended up just kind of leaving school. I'm resting. I'm trying to become a Christian, right? But at the same time, I'm still partying with my non-Christian friends. Heard what happened, they still kept coming. So I still went drinking after this happened. I was like, Lord, I heard this mercy and forgiveness. Let me have one last shot, right? It ended up causing me to party like every day. But in the midst of this partying in the summer, the Lord allowed me to have a car accident, which really struck fear in me. And at the same time, He gave me a dream. Like, I didn't even ask for this dream. I was on the top of a mountain, the dream very vivid. And I heard the voice of God. And I've never heard audibly this clearly. And God speaks to me in Bible verses, and He said, Jesus is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased. Listen to Him, listen to Him, listen to Him. And I was like, oh my God, did I just hear God? And I saw this triangular light like rotating in the dream, and I'm on the top of a mountain, and I see this huge, beautiful valley with a river and mountains on both sides. And just like it says in Revelation 21 verse 2, it says, I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. It was literally a transparent pyramid triangular city. I think it was the New Jerusalem. And it came down, and there were angels on both sides just flying with trumpets that were so long, and they're worshiping God. And I knew it was not human voice because it was just so holy and perfect and majestic and beautiful. At that moment, compared to seeing hell, and compare that hopelessness times 100 which of anything on earth, pain-wise, and seeing heaven where the peace and the joy and the comfort you feel of having Father right next to you, like tangibly, visibly with you, is incomparable. And I knew that God was showing me heaven because He wants all of humanity there. He wants every single soul there. The defining moment for heaven and hell, seeing heaven and hell and coming to a point of realization and resolution of lifestyle change was, I need to share this gospel with every human being I meet. We ask ourselves, like, what can we do to love this person, right? We can do acts of service, give them money, pray for them. But if they don't know Jesus, the greatest gift we can give them is to let them know these two places are real, and that through Jesus you can actually go to heaven. Only through Jesus, actually, and have a relationship with the Father where you're His child. It's the most beautiful thing we can give somebody. I can, with 100% confidence, tell you right now that I do not struggle with depression or suicide ever, except when I am overworked and physically tired, but that's not depression or suicidal thoughts, right? Why am I saying this? Because I believe not taking care of the body is a big element of having a unsuccessful spiritual life. The degree to which you take care of your body and your spirit is the degree to which we can have true joy and enjoy life with Jesus. So I really believe in that. Big proponent of that. If you're struggling through depression and sadness or lack of motivation, we have to start by shifting the focus from ourselves to others. I don't know if you noticed this, but when you're with others, it's hard to be depressed. When you're with God, it's hard to be depressed. When you're more aware of other people suffering than your own, it's hard to be unmotivated because you got to do stuff to help them. Jesus said in John 12:24, I love this verse, it's actually my second favorite verse. Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone. It's not good for us to be alone. But if it falls to the ground and dies, then it bears much fruit. It will bear a huge harvest. So can we ignore it? It's not just about ignoring, but it's about shifting the focus from being aware of my depression to thank God that I'm even alive. But some people come to a point where professionally they might need psychiatric help, and I'm not against that because medicine too is a blessing from God, I believe. But there comes a point when you're healed to a certain degree, now it's up to you and the Lord. So I start my day through prayer and thanksgiving and praise, and it reshifts priority and joy, right? And in His presence, it says in the Bible, there's a fullness of joy. So our job is not to get rid of depression. Our job is to get into his presence, and he will get rid of the depression for you. When I'm down, I have a Thanksgiving notebook, and I will start writing what I'm thankful for, and then you're like, oh, when was I down? Right? So it's all about that reshifting of the focus and doing what we can do. When we are hopeless and when we're going through depression and suicidal thoughts, I want to encourage you guys that it takes one word from Jesus. For me, it took one encounter to get rid of that junk. So have hope, because God can literally change your situation from the prison to the palace in one day. For me, it was like literally hell to earth to heaven in one day. So God has a plan to use you, and there is a purpose to your suffering. I didn't know this, but now I have so much compassion for suicidal people. So I want to encourage you guys that Jesus has allowed the suffering to happen because number one, he wants to deliver you. And number two, he's going to use that story for you to be able to relate to those who are going to go through the same thing later.
Man, this guy's testimony is crazy right here, man. Literally just Satan telling him himself that if you cut your throat, then it can heal him and whatnot. But the amazing thing about God is that it only takes, like he said in the end, our suffering, elevates us to just to even have that encounter with God. You know what I'm saying? And it took for him to do that, to have those suicidal thoughts or that depression, to be able to have that encounter with God, to be here telling us his story and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Also, he said in the end that it's not our job to get rid of depression or anxiety or anything dealing with that. It's us getting closer to God and for him to get rid of it. We got to realize that we can't do things on our own for the most part. When we try to control things on our own and just try to just control the situation that's pretty much out of our control, we're gonna find ourselves stressing ourselves out even more. So when you dealing with something super bad, super emotional for you, you know what I'm saying, depression, anxiety, whatever the case may be, you got to get closer to God because he's the only one that can get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? And he said that nobody should be alone. You know what I'm saying? Always had a relationship with God, man. But the first part of the story was crazy, man. So y'all comment down below exactly what y'all think about this, man. I just thank God that he didn't die that day. He was able to live to tell his testimony and whatnot, man. But listen, guys, at the end of my videos, I'll say stay inspired, stay motivated, stay grinding. Till next video, I'm out of here. Peace.